Okay, so I would like to introduce now Mr. Matthew Gibson. He is the Associate Director for Student Ventures in the Center for Entrepreneurship here at University of Michigan, and he's an apt person to introduce this next panel. We're going to take a little different tack here because you've been listening to panelists all morning. We're going to start this panel with some presentations of some dynamic student entrepreneurs, and then we're going to go into a discussion. All right, so Matthew, come on up. Thank you very much.
All right, well, I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today and to have the opportunity to work with some of these entrepreneurs. As David said, in my role at the University of Michigan, I get the chance to work with student entrepreneurs every day and to see many of the inspiring things that they're working on, to see their ideas and to kind of support and help them move along. And I can tell you from interacting with these young entrepreneurs that they are shining stars, and I think you're going to really enjoy hearing from them. So first, I'd like to introduce Jamar and Erica Hill. They have started a new venture called Transfer, and I think we'll go ahead and have you do your pitch right now.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. So we are Transfer. On the team is Jamar Hill. He's the project lead, and myself, Erica Hill, marketing lead. And we're a mobile app that's basically here to take the guesswork out of transportation. So what's the problem that we're here to solve?
That's a very good question. So we noticed a while ago, So we noticed a while ago that a lot of Detroiters are actually having a problem getting to their job or to school. This is greatly impacting their performance. One of the things that they told us after conducting well over 100 interviews is that, well, I can't really figure out when I need to go to something because my bus isn't here for 30 minutes to an hour past the scheduled time, or the bus decided to change routes on me, even, without telling me. So after seeing that, we decided that we needed to come up with something that was going to help them with that.
And it's also twofold. So for the agencies, we spoke with a lot of people, and we found out that there's a problem with that two-way communication. How do we get this to our writers, and how do our writers get the feedback back to us? In addition to that, how do we know what's going on? So we got 50 new buses. Great. Where do we put them? Who needs it the most? When do they need it the most? And so that's a problem that's not really properly being addressed right now. With a problem comes a solution.
Of course, Transfer was the solution. So it's a mobile app that basically it reduces uncertainty, it saves time, and it increases your bus riding experience by giving you the real-time GPS location of the bus. It gives you crowdsourced features such as, is the bus crowded? Are there 10 crying babies on the bus? Is it dirty? And as well as giving you a hub of information from the agencies themselves. So what we're looking at is any route schedule changes or any breakdowns of buses, things of that nature.
And for agencies and data partners, that solution is going to be that live feedback. So you're no longer getting what went wrong last quarter. You're getting it day to day, live feed, what's going on, who needs it the most. And also you're getting that hub and that avenue or medium to receive the information and also to disperse the information at a cost-efficient, real-time way.
So we noticed that we're not the only people on the block that's doing this. We know that this is something that has been done before, especially in the city of Detroit. One thing that we like to show people that separates us from our competition is just simply this. A lot of our competition, if not all, are basically using the schedules. And that's something that a lot of our clients said, well, we don't need the schedule. We don't trust the schedule. We need to know exactly where the bus is. So that's one thing that we do offer. Something else is just the crowd, is just the social aspect of it. Allowing the riders to actually participate in something versus just sitting there, getting information and getting on the bus. They actually get a chance to tell the next person, hey, you might want to wait because this bus is crowded. I don't think you're going to like it. And last but not least, there's really not anything out there from a mobile aspect that gives you the information from all of the agencies. So if you're catching a bus from D. Detroit Department of Transportation, for anyone not been to Detroit, to SMART, then there is no correlation between, okay, this bus has changed its location due to construction.
So what we want to do going into it is the social impact was great, and that's what moved us in our heart. But that overwhelming question came, well, is this a business, and what's the model? So we're kind of a freemium with a twist. And the biggest thing is, how do we get our customers? Well, we get them and activate and acquire through social media, through online, through earned PR, unearned. And also something that's a little old, but it actually works, talking to people and seeing what they want. Also, how do we keep them? How do we retain them? We want to do that through customization. What works for them? Getting out there again, talking to them. Does this work? And also growing it, having that social viral feel to where you have referrals, contests, also getting engaged with our key partners, which are the transit advocacy groups and other data partners who are invested in seeing an improvement in Detroit transit. Overall, once again, these are all good things, but how do we make money?
Simple. Freemium. So we're looking at, for the riders, freemium. We're looking at ads. And for the agencies, we're looking at subscription and licensing.
So overall, we're going through the monetization of it. We've went through the social aspect of it. And we just want people to know that we are here for the people, listening to the people, giving them something that has not been done before. We're not going to give you what we think you want. We're going to give you what you tell us you want. We're Transfer. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. We'll have a little time for questions afterwards. But with that, I'd also like to introduce our next team, next venture, which is Evolve. And that includes Justine Shu, Miles Morgan, and Justin Cook. And they've been developing a new social platform particularly focused on youth.
All right, good afternoon. I'm Justine, a college advisor at Detroit Edison Public School Academy. This is Miles, a college advisor at Cody High School. And this is Justin, a longtime mentor to Detroit youth. What united us as a team was not only our shared vision, but our shared experiences as advisors and advocates for urban youth. All of us are motivated by the overwhelming inadequacy of the education system, by the countless struggles that our students have faced and overcome, and by the knowledge that opportunities exist with the potential to change our students' lives that they just don't know about. See, through our time advising, all of us have encountered students like Tanisha. Tanisha was a former student of mine at Cody High School, and like a lot of my kids, she was fighting the odds. Growing up, she never lived with either of her biological parents. Her older brother went to prison, and most of her family and friends had either dropped out of school or were in the streets. But Tanisha wanted to be different. Tanisha wanted to be the first in her family to go to and graduate from college. The only problem? She didn't know exactly what she wanted to study or what she needed to do to get there. So that's when she came to me. And like a lot of my students, she relied almost exclusively on her teachers and advisors for information about what kinds of opportunities were out there. So I scoured my networks, searched through over 9,000 emails in my inbox, over 9 million search results that Google returned. And finally, I found 2 opportunities I knew would be a good fit. One was a girls' leadership and empowerment camp, and the other was the Accounting Career Awareness Program at Wayne State University. Through these programs, Tanisha met role models to guide her, discovered that accounting was her dream career, and won the scholarship that enabled her to be the first in her family to go to college. The problem for us is that Tanisha is just one of over 350 students that we serve on a day-to-day basis. And the reality is, the average high school counselor in the state of Michigan serves 362 students. This means we have too many students, too many other responsibilities, and too many scattered information sources to be able to get this kind of information to every child in a meaningful way. And this same pain was shared by over 130 students and educators that we interviewed this summer through the DTX launch program at Techtown Detroit. So that's where the idea for our app was born. ProUp is a web and mobile app that delivers a personalized live feed of educational and enrichment opportunities directly to students based upon their interests. Essentially, we connect students, educators, and opportunity providers. The way that it works is that businesses, nonprofits, educational institutions, and youth development organizations post their programs and events using our app. And these are then filtered and fed only to students that are relevant based upon their interests. Now, while there are other college and career readiness apps out there, none of them provides what was identified by our students as the single most important benefit, and that is a customized list of enrichment opportunities. Additionally, none of them connect students to opportunities outside the school in the way that we're proposing. Through researching our competitors' financial models and interviewing potential payers, we've identified two revenue streams. The first is an annual per-student subscription fee that we charge to schools and school districts. And the second is a monthly subscription fee that we'll charge to opportunity providers. The emphasis is to keep the service free for students and parents. As for our next steps, we're currently accepting proposals from developers. Our goal is to launch an alpha version by mid-December and then pilot a beta version by mid-February. Through our app, we hope to move towards a truly connected city, one in which all local youth and residents are connected to the opportunities that they need to evolve themselves and evolve Detroit. To connect with us or help us build, you can visit us online at evolveeveryday.com. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Let's go ahead and have all the panelists come up and sit here in the front. I thought what would be helpful for us now is to maybe learn a little bit more about them as individuals. And so I'd like to invite each of you to just take a minute or so and give a little bit of your background. Tell us who you are now that we've learned a little bit about your ventures so that we can understand a little bit more about where you're coming from.
Is this on? Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Miles Morgan. I'm currently in a master's program for counseling psychology at Wayne State University. I'm in my second year. I work at Detroit Cody High School as a college advisor, which I just heard through the DPS Central Office grapevine that is probably one of the worst schools in the city. So I'm earning my stripes there. And, you know, then I'm working on Evolve with my two partners. My greatest passion is more or less to help people self-actualize and reach their own potential. That's why I'm going into counseling psychology. And I feel like, you know, connecting people to opportunities through which they can do that is an integral part of reaching one's potential. And so, yeah, I'll keep it short with that.
Hi, again. I'm Justine. I actually was a former student at U of M as well. I always like to start by saying, go blue. Go blue. I always like to start by saying that I'm proud living proof that people who study philosophy also do useful things in their spare time. And I've been working in Detroit going on to 4 years now, you know, as a college advisor and an ACT prep teacher. You know, I started my own ACT prep company because I believe that all students deserve the opportunity to get quality preparation, and they're not in certain areas. I think my passion is to try to close the educational achievement gap, especially for urban youth, because I believe that the achievement gap is not really an achievement gap. It's an opportunity gap and an expectations gap. So that's what we're working on through Evolve, and that I'm also hoping to close through my own test prep company.
Hi, everybody. My name is Justin Cook. I have been like Justine said, a long time youth advocate. I've worked with different organizations for like the past 7 or 8 years, including the YMCA, Bold Family YMCA downtown Detroit, Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Long story short, that's my passion, just youth development and basically helping the next generation, you know, self-actualize, kind of like what Miles was saying. So it's just great that I'm working with this team. You know, we all have kind of the same values and the same goals. So, yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Erica Hill. Recently graduated from Wayne State this May with a degree in business administration. Seeking a career in law with a focus in entrepreneurship. Go figure. Next. I spent some time as a veteran in the world's greatest Air Force, so I kind of say go blue. And being a resident New Yorker, proud Detroit now, and I'm very proud of it. Transportation was a big thing that was a problem for me. This was just like hey, this is not okay. Does anybody know this is broken? And so for me, it's a big passion and a lifelong commitment, someplace where I'm raising and building my family to see my child be able to use transportation to go to school, to go to opportunities, to be able to rely on it. And so that's something that I'm here for the long haul for.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jamar Hill. I am the other half of Transfer, as well as this dynamic duo here. I'm a vet as well. We met in the Air Force. I am a native Detroiter, born and raised here. Love the city. I've been a lot of places, and I always tell everyone Detroit is the greatest city on earth. Truly, and I truly believe that. But when it comes to the bus, when it comes to the transportation, I have lost plenty of opportunities from interviews that I was supposed to go to. I left the house 3 hours early, still got there an hour late. I have missed a lot of school when I was younger and had to rely on neighbors to take me to and from school. So for my experience, it's the opposite of Erica's. It's seeing a broken transportation system that the riders come to expect that this is what it is. This is reality and nothing is going to change. But then going to places like New York and being like, wow, like I don't have to run after a bus because another one will be here in 5-10 minutes. This is crazy. So I wanted to bring that experience back to the greatest city on earth so we can be even greater.
Great, thank you. So, you know, there's this notion that we see in the media particularly that, you know, entrepreneurship is really glamorous and that entrepreneurs should often start really young when they're students and will all be the next, you know, Mark Zuckerbergs or Bill Gates or whoever it might be. You're fairly early in these ventures. So what I'd like to ask you is, could you share with us one of maybe your biggest challenges that you've faced in your entrepreneurial journey with these ventures and one of your greatest successes or aha moments that you've had in this journey?
All right. So I guess as a father, husband, student, entrepreneur, is one of the biggest challenges is time. Like I'm trying to make sure that I incorporate my family. I was able to incorporate my wife into it, so that's kind of good. But incorporating our daughter into it as well, so we can spend as much time with her.
The biggest challenge going into it, definitely other than time, has been that resistance to change and that, well, it's not going to change, so whatever, or that feeling, you're too young, bright-eyed, bushy-tail, like we have this. So the biggest challenge is overcoming that, and the biggest success has been almost learning the system to where you have to show the metrics. You have to show this is where I base, you know, my solution on, and this is where it's going in terms of metrics and real data that appeals to big business. So it's been a challenge, but yet a success learning how to maneuver through that.
So I'm going to share from both a personal level and then on a business level what our biggest challenges have been. On a personal level, I'm still waiting for somebody to invent the 48-hour day. Because I am I was working full-time. I recently had to go to my superintendent and actually ask to cut my hours and only work 3 days out the week so I could devote the appropriate time to my other ventures, or I had to quit my job. But that was the decision I was, a sacrifice I had to prepare myself to make. Obviously, starting two businesses, taking web development classes through Grand Circus, and working, trying to help a lot of my current and former students just takes a tremendous investment of time and energy. I think one of the greatest successes on a personal front is the amazing people that you encounter in the process. This process has brought the three of us incredibly close. And like Jamar was saying, when you have, your family or your friends or the people on the ride with you, it allows us to maintain like a, 2-hour average, maybe 0.5-hour average social life sometimes per week. But nevertheless, these guys, I love these guys, and they're the people that I work with all the time. So that's been a big personal success for me. On the business front, a huge challenge for us has been monetization. I mean, our priority is to keep the service free for students because, a lot of our students at Cody, 99% are free and reduced price lunch. Even at schools like DEPSA, these charter schools, we're still dealing with about a 70% free lunch population. So the reality is kids really can't pay for a lot of things that other students in other areas may be able to pay for. But finding, people who will pay for the service is tough. However, we have discovered, through talking to administrators and educators and people at the central office level that, there are educational technology services that they have license with that they do currently pay for. And so it's not so much that they don't have money, it's how they appropriate it. And right now we're kind of exploring ways to make sure that our programs are eligible for Title I and 31A funding so that schools can actually receive that federal reimbursement for the money that they spend on our service. Otherwise, as we know, Detroit Public Schools is constantly in a budget crisis.
Right after we finished the DTX launch program, we were faced with a decision on whether we wanted to continue or whether we wanted to return to our regularly scheduled programming. And it was basically a mini crisis. Like I haven't been, I'm only 25 years old, so I haven't experienced very, very many crises, but, there were competing priorities. I was like, well, my education comes first. I have a full-time job where I need to commit, my full-time and energy to my students. And if I have those two full-time commitments, how can I possibly put time forth to a whole nother side venture and from our advisors and mentors have been saying, this is a full-time commitment. And so that was I think all three of us had to make that decision, and we were on the brink of, deciding not to. But then we got, I guess another, success is that we've gotten so much positive feedback when people we interview are saying, I think you're on to something, or it doesn't matter, just keep going. You need to keep going. It doesn't matter what you're experiencing. And so in the end, we decided to continue, and we're here now, and we're, we still squeeze customer interviews in every week. We still squeeze meeting times in every week. And the way I describe it is that we're in expansion season. Like we're pushing against our own limits, and it may be hard, but at the end of the day, we're growing as a result. So.
That's great. All right, thank you. So here's a question for Evolve. Recently, and you can look this up online, they were featured in an article on Techonomy. And one of the things that you said in that article was that true social change emerges from self-refinement. So could you explain to us a little bit more about what that means and how that impacts you and your approach with Evolve?
Okay, this is my cup of tea. So, in short, I don't know any simpler way to say it, is that our external world more or less mirrors our internal world and environment. So if someone is, perfect example, all the leaders that have been in my school for the last 2 or 3 years have, the school environment is a reflection of them, the leader, their leadership styles and themselves. Whatever they may have been going through in life, whatever stresses they had, however they dealt with that stress, they project it onto, the entire school as an organization. So, you can carry that into any other facet of your life. And so I realized personally, and this is why, I endeavor to become a life coach, is that, if I really want to be successful when I encounter obstacles in my future, or if I'm trying to build an organization, that is basically, I have to do the work inside first. I have to deal with my own skeletons, my own demons. I have to figure out the proper coping styles for when I encounter struggles, and that in turn will lead to sustainable and really, truly meaningful success, where I'll be able to actually enact and live out my values through my life's work. So for me, I don't know if you guys want to add anything.
I was going to say our team values are, relationships are key. Exposure is everything. Master yourself and evolve every day. And this philosophy, in a way, is derived from our own life experiences and our experiences as advisors. One of the things we've noticed is you can provide a kid with opportunities, but because psychologically they've been so damaged, that does not mean they will take advantage of them. Children internalize the things that are happening to them from the time that they are infants to, young adults. So a lot of the things we notice in our students is that they exhibit learned helplessness. They don't try because they experience that there's no correlation between their effort and what they experience in life. So we recognize that, on the one hand, we want to empower our kids to really unlock their potential, to make change in their communities. But that also starts from empowering them to change themselves internally first. So we've always believed that it's sort of through struggle that they can make progress. Just like for us, our company mantra is that, through the struggle, we evolve as well.
That's great. Thank you. A question for Transfer, which is, what is it about transportation that motivates you to pursue it as a path for urban entrepreneurship and potentially social change?
Definitely. For me, transportation is key. And sometimes I wonder, I get that feeling, are you serious? Do you not get it? Like, transportation is crucial for a city and for growing and for sustainability. Like, you want people to work. You want people to learn. You want people to evolve. How can they do it if they cannot get where they need to go? And so transportation for me is something that ties into an even bigger picture. And that's why it's a passion for me. It ties into children being educated. It ties into that mother being able to get to her employment. It ties into that development and that growth and that revitalization. So that's where my passion stems from. It's just a key to a much bigger picture.
So for me, transportation is sexy. It's just period. I mean, if you think about it, we constantly, it's overlooked, but it's something that it's exciting. When you have a nice ride, or when you have a way to get someplace, that's a very, very exciting thing for you. And in the end, you kind of take it for granted, but it's a sexy thing. So.
All right. Well, let me ask one more question for each of the teams up here, which is, how does the world look different in 5 or 10 years because of what you're doing today?
So for us, this app, like we began with a huge idea. And through our, just going through the program, we realized we had to scale down and start somewhere. But for us, this app is just beginning. So in 5 to 10 years, we're really looking to create an alternative pathway to education that isn't still, it may be parallel, it may be supplemental, but not, dependent on, the assembly line format of education as it is now. We really are looking to figure out a way to customize it in a way that, we can actually meet the needs of students who aren't being educated. period, point blank.
So, yeah, in my vision, long term, we have this sort of career assessment or interest assessment profile students complete. It prescribes them with a roadmap that tells them exactly what they need to execute to get to their goals and where they are relative to their goals. And then provides them, by connecting them to these live opportunities, really provides them with an experiential curriculum, that they need to acquire relevant skills and competencies that they're not necessarily, well, I'm just going to say a lot of them are not getting through, traditional public education. And what it means for us is that everybody's getting connected. We talk a lot about the revitalization of Detroit. And while it's true that a lot of businesses are moving into the city, there's also a dialogue going on about who's benefiting from that. And so in our vision, we really want to connect neighborhood youth, residents of the city, to all the new opportunities that are growing, and not just say midtown or downtown residents. And so ultimately it would enable, hopefully, everybody to get a really effective, customized information about what opportunities are out there and just develop themselves. But I think one more thing I wanted to say about our long-term vision was to be able to partner with organizations like Transfer or like Detroit Bus Company, so that once we identify these opportunities for students, there's actually a way for them to get there. And so obviously that's a longer-term vision, but I would say if you're talking, 5-10 years down the line, we hope to not only connect them to what's out there, but literally find a way to transport them there as well.
The vision that I see coming up is basically I want to spread an infectious motivation and attitude that despite things being broken, you can fix it. Money is not an excuse. Time is not an excuse. I want in 5 years for you to see that, yes, the system was bad. Yes, we don't have money. Yes, you did not like this mayor. But what can we do cost efficient? What can we do in terms of technology to see a city problem and solve it? And that's what I want to see in 5 years, whether it's transportation, whether it's education. I want to see a mentality with the residents to where we don't like this, we're going to fix it. And we're going to pool our resources together to do something about it. So that's what I envision, and that's what I want to see.
Microphone kind of hot after that one. What basically, just to be quick, what I see is just that public transportation, mass transit is going to be something that's ignored in every city across America, and every city in a lot of cities across the world. So it'll be San Francisco, New York, Chicago, all over, versus just those specific spots.
Great. Well, we have time for one question before we wrap up here from the audience. If someone wants to ask something to our panelists, go ahead.
Just a comment. What I see is if these young people get their way and manage to do what they're wanting to do, we're going to see a lot of good things happening in Detroit.
I think absolutely. Does anyone else want to ask a question or a comment even? Go ahead.
What's your motivation? Because you're saying it's hard day to day, so what keeps you going?
This is going to sound so generic, but my mantra that I got from my Southern grandmother, failure is not an option. If you eliminate it as an option, you have no choice but to keep going. So for me, it's just, hey, this is going to be hard. Hey, this is going to be difficult. But if I remove it as even being a go-to button, then I have no choice but to go forward.
On a personal level, I feel that I can't really work in the environment I want to work unless I create it for myself. I want to be challenged professionally and personally. I want to have a degree of creativity and autonomy in executing my job. I want to fully support the mission and vision of the institution I work for. And I want to work for a team of really passionate, similarly motivated people. So that's on the personal level. On a social level, it's my anger. Like, I couldn't go to work. You go to work every day and you witness schools that have basically become holding cells for children. Kids can't get from one place to the other safely without being jumped, without their bus breaking down on them. You know what I'm saying? We're putting out kids who are graduating reading at 5th grade reading levels. That's not acceptable. So I would say that for all of us, a lot of our motivation is just that anger at the inequality and injustice that we see on a day-to-day basis. That's the reality for our students.
Yeah, for me, really shortly, it's just the realization that there's suffering in the world. We're not gonna get rid of pain. We're not gonna get rid of suffering. What we can do is teach people how to deal with it and how to grow from it. And so I wake up every day, trying to do that for myself. And I intend to, help other people, do the same.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to express my confidence and excitement in the future because we have people like our panelists who are working hard to make it a better place and a better future. And also I'd like to express my deep and sincere gratitude for your time here today and invite you to join me in thanking them.
I think unless you're a funder and understand the investments, that most people who have money have gotten money from someone else, right? And so, and it's their job when they're talking to you to be able to sort of